Welcome everybody to a live Q&A on the Dice Tower here with me, Suzanne, and my dear friend Mandi over there.
I
Say
know.
hi, Mandi.
Oh no. Hi. So if I sound different, I'm a little stuffed up. I have a sinus infection. So if my voice sounds super annoying, that's why.
What if we don't notice a difference in your voice, Mandi?
I'm sorry, but I can hear myself and I'm like, "Brr, brr, brr." It's awful.
You sound fine. I'm sorry though that you're dealing better that you're getting sick now as opposed to at Essen, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Because I'm sharing a room with you in Germany and I don't want to be like,
You can't catch a sinus infection.
okay, good
Can't.
point. Good
Well, I
point.
hope not anyway.
Yeah. Well, everybody, it's nice to have you here with us. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a little while for us. We know it's been hectic and busy, as you go through the summer, through convention season, all that stuff. But we wanted to get in a Q&A at least before we went for the spiel in Essen and get any Essen questions you had out, or if you wanted to talk about any of the games we've been playing or our awesome new looks today.
Exactly. See, I have to can we see it all in its glory? I see the chat is going crazy. Can I just say, oh my goodness, the chat was going even before we started.
Seriously, you are amazing, everybody. Think it's like the chat doesn't even is. We're just like the background noise for the awesome chat that's going on.
I
And
know,
you know what?
right?
I'm basically completely okay with that.
No, it's so great. That signifies to me that it's been too long since we've had a Q&A.
And that we have a really awesome community of people who like games and like talking about games too.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we'll basically use any excuse to do that. So,
actually, before we start, I see some guesses happening already. So, for everybody, before we get into the game talk, Suzanne and I have many of these onesie kigurumis. So, any guesses? I see some guesses in there as to what I am.
is it not obvious? Wait a minute.
No, it might not be. And then about what Suzanne is. So, you might have to talk for it to come back up.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, thank you. Good point. Yeah, stupid Google Hangout. We'll figure this out one of these days. Got.
All right. Throw that in the chat to see. I think mine's pretty obvious, but I don't know. I feel like gamers may throw us into something even more magical, so I'm okay with that.
I have there's a tail on this one. That's my advice. When you're selecting kigurumis to wear, be aware of tails and of underarm bulk. I'm just saying, depending on the occasion, this is a great Halloween costume. I don't know how much like sitting on a chair is. It's a little, if you see me squirming a little, it's good for the tail.
See, I wore the very easy peasy pockets, small tail situation, so we're good. All right, people probably want to know games. I'm sorry, it's been a while, so now we will move on to the games.
That's true. Oh, and somebody's asking about if I've watched any Abdullah videos from games off the shelf. Yes, in fact, my 6-year-old son is completely addicted. This is a YouTuber who does Nintendo streaming. I was looking for a family-friendly streamer for my son who was really into video games. Found this guy Abdullah 26 Smash or Abdullah Smash 26, and totally. My son's a complete fan now. So whoever gave me that recommendation, thank you. It's been a huge hit.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, some of the guesses of our onesies are killing me right now. Can I just say, Benjamin, your daughter has great taste. So Benjamin says, my 6-year-old girl picked the same costume as Mandi for this year. Yes.
And I'll go with owlbear. I'm down with owlbear. I'm good with that.
I like it. And actually, I really like the guess of sea. It was like a sea unicorn or something. Anyway, I like that. I'm going to go with that.
And then David Phillips is mentioning that the Murph brothers are wanting to know if we're starting a turf war with them because apparently they're still live streaming now too. I'd hope that their stream might be over, although sometimes they run a little long. Yeah, Mandi, I think it's about time that we came out publicly and made it official that the brothers Murph and Mandi and Suzanne are what's the word? We are not rivals. What's deeper than a rivalry?
Like we're beefing?
Nemesis.
I don't know.
We're nemesis.
Okay.
And from now on, we will always schedule our stream against the Murph Brothers stream.
Yes.
There you have it.
It's on. See, I've come prepared with my weapon.
Let's see what they say to that, huh? Come on, brothers. Come on, Nick.
That's right.
What you gonna do, huh? No, we love the Murph brothers. They're awesome. Except we don't. They're the worst. Don't watch them. Watch us.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about some games. So Mandi and I, we are leaving Mandi, you're flying out tomorrow.
Yeah. So for anybody who follows me on Twitter, Facebook, any of that stuff, you'll notice that I wrote that I was sick. Like I've been fighting it. So today just really came full blown. So I've been packing. That's why there's like a whole bunch of stuff on my floor over there. I'm packing. I leave tomorrow evening.
That's stunning. And you're going to be, I mean, isn't that a little early? I mean, the spiel doesn't start until like next Wednesday or Thursday, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to be hanging out a bit with Dave and Ilka Lusa, and you've seen them on the channel before. So, I just thought I'd go say hi for like a weekend and hang out with them before, get acclimated to the time difference.
And they're such wonderful, awesome people. I hope you have a blast. I fly out on Monday. And Mandi, I mean, now that we've both got one Essen under our belts, kind of, what are we thinking? We talked about this in our most recent podcast, but as after, you know how these podcasts usually go, we're all hyped up and stuff like that. And then inevitably we forget something that we want to talk about. So now that we're kind of thinking again about Essen, is there anything else that you're really looking forward to or that you would do completely differently now that we've got one under our belt going to Essen?
Well, I definitely think we overdid it on the amount of games that we purchased last year. I don't know, purchased and received. I think I have to be a bit more selective this year. I can't go gangbusters and just take everything. I've made my list and I really need to stick to it. And then I definitely think I'm bringing money because I think money was a thing where going to the ATMs or I'm not sure, the interact machines that they have, it was really hard to get out a lot of money and I just don't want to be stuck. Yeah. So I think for me those were some really big things. I mean, I always bring comfortable shoes, comfortable yet fashionable if I can. And the weather's quite nice in Germany. It's supposed to be bordering to summer-ish temperatures.
That's a thing. Okay, good to know. I should take that into account. So much for my parka.
Well, because it gets so hot in the hall sometimes. So I figure, I don't want to necessarily bring layers. Like if you're going to wear a sweater, make sure you have something underneath the sweater to take off. Otherwise, you just might die of heat.
Well, we could just, wear our onesies. The onesies are quite warm.
Somebody actually in the chat has said they would like us to wear onesies and we can take pictures. Oh, someone did listen to the podcast. Geox shoes. I am telling you.
You got it. Like, were you paid by Geox? Because I'm telling you, that was wild. All right. Now, I mean, this is the thing. And Jeremy is mentioning buy less, but bring more money. And it's really just about cash and availability of credit card services. I guess there are some, and if there's anybody from Germany in the chat, you may be able to speak more eloquently to this, but there are financial rules about credit card services in Germany if you're not a German company. So right off the bat, if you're not a German company, running credit card transactions is very, very challenging. And then even for the companies that had credit card units in Essen when we were there were just a lot of difficulties with Wi-Fi connectivity or whatever. So you'd go over and you'd hand them a credit card and they'd swipe it and then you'd wait and you'd wait and you'd wait and it'd fail and then they do it. So it just seems cash is much better. But then there's the struggle with ATMs at the convention center where they run out of cash really, really quick. So you might want to, it's something that I think we both remember that we got to move, Mandi. We got to get through that hall. We got to buy our games. We can't wait for any credit card machines. So cash will be king. Bring those euros for sure.
Yeah. What about you? Is there anything else that you were thinking, we really need to check out this year, or maybe not do as much of?
No, it's funny. I want to be selective. I'm definitely going to focus on games that I think will be harder to get in the United States later, no matter what. I think that's my first pre-order or my first priority. And then I've pre-ordered a bunch of stuff. So this year, though, what I'm really going to do is I'm going to map my route for the first day of shopping when it's a little less crowded. And I'm going to know every booth that last year I played it fast and loose. I knew, I had some pre-orders, but I didn't really plan how I was going to go through.
Right.
This time I'm going to do that for sure because it's huge. It's massive, and it's so easy to miss things. And come Saturday, you don't want to be wandering if you can avoid it because it's so crowded. So that's my big plan is I'm going to be more organized as terms of like mapping the floors and knowing where I'm going.
And I have zero sense of direction, so that means I'll be following you the entire time so I don't get lost. And I see a question. This is a good one. And just FYI, there was a question that I did see in the chat. We're going to come back to it later. But this one is specifically asking, do you have time to play at Essen? Yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, I know Jason always tries to get us to play games, but it's usually like 11 o'clock at night in German time, and I'm sorry, but I'm like a grandma even right now. Like I'm probably gonna be like sleepy during this. It's late for me, and I found, well, anybody who listens to the live show, literally we played one game. Do you remember we played what was it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that one game, and that was it. I think we played maybe one other game.
Oh, it was a Zularetto duel.
That's it. I saw that. So yeah. So I'm hoping we'll get to play a bit more, but yikes.
I don't know. It's not that kind of yeah, and unfortunately it's so busy from the moment we get to the hall to the time that we leave. There's really zero gameplay time there.
Yeah.
We may get a demo in, like a super fast demo in of a game or two as we go through the floor, but I can't imagine that we would have much time to sit and actually play a game, which is a shame. I'm kind of bummed about that, to be honest, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, if you're able to stay up late, sure, then you will probably find somewhere in the hotels or something, because there are no gaming areas at Essen. You have to kind of go off site.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, I know we try to kind of get to bed early because we have long days. And then I know for me, I'll be better this year, but for you, you're coming in on the Tuesday, so you don't have as much time to get used to the time difference. So yeah. Oh, lots of questions. Oh my goodness. April. Oh my goodness. April, anytime anyone sees me at a convention, even if I'm learning a game, seriously, just come up, interrupt, say hi, because honestly, I'll always be busy doing something. So come over, honest to goodness, I wouldn't be upset. Just come and say hi. That's what I'm there for. So always say hi.
For sure. I mean, I know Mandi looks really intimidating. She's a big old softie. Don't even let her. You gotta go up and chat her up.
Exactly.
Let's see. What else do we have here?
Crime detective games. I just realized that I have detective, and you have Chronicles of Crime. Mine's in the basement, but yes, we both have detective games. I just played case 2, and I'll be airing. So anybody who's going to be who's maybe not playing the game but wants to see how it plays, we'll be doing a recorded playthrough of Detective, and I'll be posting it on the Dice Tower when I get back.
Oh, you will? That's
cool. But it's spoiler. So if you plan to play the game, do not watch it. But if you're like, yeah, it's not a game I'll play, but I just want to check it out, that'll be it. And I'm going to cut it down to about an hour or so versus the like 4 or 5 hours it takes to play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. All
right.
Michael's in the chat. We played till almost 2 a.m. Yeah, and I had to work the next day. Both of us.
Well, let that be a lesson to you. You don't need sleep after all. You're fine. Phineas is asking how many roll-in rights are legitimately on my buy list.
Oh my goodness.
Phineas, what's with this loaded legitimately in that question? What are you asking here? I mean, come on.
This is gonna get ugly.
Legitimately, all of them are on my buy list. And no, I'm not joking. The only roll-in rights at Essen that I am not planning on buying are the ones I already own. And in some cases, I'm planning on buying a roll and write I already own because it's from a different publisher and has a slightly different aesthetic. And that's how collecty I am on the niche of games. So you might want to get more specific in your question. I will say I'm very excited about the Wolfgang Warsch game, Bricks, that's coming out. There's also one involving Stefan Bendorf, who I kind of view as the the godfather of roll and write games as well. And I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but there's a really nice assortment of roll and write games coming out at Essen, from ones that have that are more traditional and kind of being very numbers oriented, and then ones that are kind of straying out beyond straying out beyond that into different mechanisms. So I'm really excited. And thankfully, they're pretty compact. I think Tag City looks great. That's a published version of a print and play game called Bento Blocks that I played a while back that really enjoyed and things like that. So there's tons of great stuff for roll and writes at Essen.
I love these questions here, Phineas, because there are like 500. I figured you'd only get 499.
So judgy, Phineas. Come on now.
It's so great. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I saw something about Montreal. Montreal. Oh, it is also from Phineas. A few months ago, you said something to me about a friend planning a con in Montreal, or I dreamed that. Any further news? Oh, so my friend is actually planning something here in Ottawa. So I shouldn't say that. He has one in Gatineau, which is Ludo Utsue, and he's part of that team, and that's coming up in November. And then there's another one. It's a big gaming one that he's having. I think it's going to be next summer, and that's going to be in the Ottawa side. So for those of you who don't know this, Gatineau is in Quebec, but it's literally like a jaunt over a bridge, and you're in Gatineau. So it's really cool. So if anybody wants any more details, just send me an email, Mandi with an I, @dicetower.com, and I'll give you some more information.
All right, question from James. Any thoughts on the Welcome to coming to Kickstarter? Ooh, Mandi, do you have any thoughts on that one?
I just got the email yesterday, and I was like, ooh, something more, because I mean, I've killed it. Like, I've played it to death, and now I want more. So I'm excited for it. Do I need it? Probably not. But do I want it? Well, of course I do. So I'm excited. What about you?
I'm thrilled. Yeah. I've played a lot of roll and write games. I mean, a lot. And Welcome to is absolutely in my top 5 of all time. It's that good. And it's definitely one where I think there's space to explore different mechanisms. Now, Deepwater Games is being a little cagey on what's being added to the game, but they've definitely hinted that they're adding, it's more than just a playmat campaign. There's definitely new sheets and things like that, the teases. And I am stoked. Welcome to is an excellent roll and write style game. Of course, it's card driven, but we still call it a roll and write. And I'm in. I'm so excited for it. So that's my feeling on that one.
Definitely gotten that. Oh, I saw a question. Oh, so I did see something about me teaching someone Spell Smashers. I can never say
Shucks.
Get Shucks. Oh, Curtis, thank you so much. I love teaching. So I will say I learned that game maybe 5 minutes before I had to teach it. So I cannot be held accountable if I got 1 or 2 wrong, slightly incorrect. But I think overall they went very well. So I'm glad that you enjoyed our teach session, and hopefully I'll get to teach another game soon.
I see a question here about Detective. Now, did we already answer that one about being something for beginners?
No. So that came up after. So I have also, like what you have in the background, Chronicles of Crime, and then Detective. So the rules are very straightforward, I find, in Detective, but it's the time to dedicate. So I find Detective is very in-depth, and I think Michael's in the chat there. So Michael is who I'm running it with. So if Michael, you can pipe up anytime if you want to jump in on this. And I find with Detective, if you're a first-time player, I think you'll be fine, but just bear in mind, you are going to have to dedicate time. It's definitely a bit more detail in the game. So I'm like, totally think I'm in CSI, forensic, I'm down with this. I love it because I just love that world. So we really go deep, but a session can take you like 4 hours. So you got to keep that in mind. Versus Chronicles of Crime, I've heard is a bit different, but maybe I'll let you kind of explain that one. So what I'm saying is anybody can play it, but it is definitely going to be something you're going to dig deep, and it is going to take you a bit longer. And thank you, Michael. It is co-op, which helps. So even if you play with someone who's stronger, they can guide you along, but the rules themselves are not overly complicated.
Yep. Chronicles of Crime is very different. Chronicles of Crime is an app-driven game. It's largely card-based with an app, a critical app element, and it uses virtual reality, which is built into the app. Now, I've played the tutorial scenario and the first scenario, and I will just tell you, I absolutely love this game deeply, deeply, deeply. It's an experience, and I think Chronicles of Crime, as long as thematically people are comfortable with, crime, that it's totally fine to play with beginners. Everybody will have to learn and understand the mechanism of using their app to scan these QR codes that are on cards, but it's very, very intuitive and simple to use. And it's cooperative as well. So you're kind of working together to solve the crime so you can help each other out. And I think it's totally appropriate for less experienced gamers. I wouldn't play it with younger gamers. There's certainly a threshold of age. Some of the imagery can be a little scary, certainly thematically. Some of the story points are violent and frightening, I think, and it's not something I would play with even my 9 or 10-year-old. But for adults who are less experienced, Chronicles of Crime is awesome. And for adults that are experienced gamers, Chronicles of Crime is awesome. So there you go.
That's another thing. The subject matter, it's not violent, but there are some things I don't think that are appropriate for a younger audience. So definitely slightly older would be the better way to go. Yeah. And for those asking about the conventions in Ottawa, Gatineau, Christian Gilbert is in the chat. That's my friend. So if you have any questions, you can actually direct to him as well, and he can help you out. So.
Curtis is asking, is there any roll and write that actually incorporates the physical act of writing into the theme of the game? I can't think of one per se. If at all, it would be very, because they all involve writing. So there's a lot of puns or a lot of, and they all involve the mechanism writing, but having it thematically writing, I'm not so sure about that beyond a punny name. But I know a lot more are in the works, so you never know. And then James is asking, did either of us back Waters of Nereus, the Dr. Finn game?
So it starred because as soon as I saw Beth Sobel, I'm like, oh, instant back. However, going to Essen, the funds were a little tight, so I had to pull back. But it's hearted, starred on my page. So the intent was there, but the wallet was a little empty.
And basically, that's exactly where I am on it too. It's just a bad time for me to back campaigns. I'm kind of clutching my wallet tightly right now, but it looks beautiful. And I'm a fan of Dr. Finn's games in general.
Me too.
Kind of calls himself the king of the filler. And I think that that's right. It's in this kind of lightweight game that they're accessible thematically and mechanically, and they're just nice to have on your shelf. So
yeah. Ooh. So is it S Ren or SW Ren? How's Thunderstone Quest going? So we're at a bit of a standstill right now because I've been traveling. I literally went to Fan Expo in New York, Shucks, and now Essen. So that's kind of taken me away from the game. So when I get back, we're hoping to jump back into it and maybe add 2 plays in one sitting because it was going really well. We were really enjoying it. We finally kind of set up our deck. So we just started and I really want to push forward. Especially because I have access to the print and plays for the cooperative, I think it is, that we can access now. So yeah, so I want to get through this so I can try those. So I'm sorry to say we're at a standstill, but we plan to keep you updated on the podcast. So if you listen to the podcast, I will kind of give a little update at the beginning. So thank you for asking.
April is asking if we have any tips for a gal planning to start a podcast. And I would say just do it. Now, that's overly simplified, but just remember what I always tell people who are interested in starting to do content is do a minimal investment up front until you know it's something you actually want to do, because sometimes equipment can become quite expensive and you can produce fine quality content with mostly what you have. And when you're talking about a podcast, really there are high quality microphones that you can get between the $50 and $100 range. And as long as you have a decent operating computer, Mandy and I think Tom, we all use the free program Audacity to record our podcast. So with a free program Audacity on a decent running computer that you should already have, hopefully, and a decent microphone, you can jump into podcasting. So from a technical point of view, you're good. Really, the other side of it is figure out what your story is, figure out what your message is, what's your goal of the podcast, and figure out what that is. Try to differentiate yourself and have some different angle or something unique that you're trying to bring to the podcast, because there's a lot of content out there and you want to stand out.
Absolutely.
And then my last bit of advice is do a lot of test records, but do a few test records and get some episodes recorded and stowed away, because the key to content is consistency of production. For example, Mandy and I are very bad at doing Q&A. That is bad. Don't be like us. And it really helps when you're trying to get a podcast started. If you have 3 or 4 episodes already recorded before you release them, it kind of relieves a little bit of that recording and production pressure as you're dealing with everything else about getting a podcast out. Those are my big tips. How about you, Mandy? Anything else you want to add?
You definitely touched on all of them. And at the end of the day, be you. That's it. Like I'm a little quirky and weird and I color my hair. And you know what? I like to say nice things about games. I mean, if it's bad, I'll say it's bad, but I don't like being mean. So then I try not to be mean, and that's okay with me. So accept who you are, accept what you want to do, and be okay with that. Don't change for anybody else. You do what you want to do, and you will generate a following that likes what you do. So that's it. My words of wisdom.
Excellent. I love that. I love the
B. But touching on that, there was a question. I don't remember who asked it, but the question was along the lines of us about the types of games we review.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, so it's something I want to talk about because, here. So it's from Sean. Hey, ladies, do you consciously stop from being mean about games you dislike, or is it just part of your personality to refrain from doing so? Okay, we get asked this a lot. I guess if a game is not a good game, the game mechanics don't work, I have no issue saying it doesn't work. I have respect to the fact that someone takes a lot of time to make a game. Listen, it would be very difficult for me to make a game. I know how much work goes into it. Doesn't mean all games are amazing, but I can respect the fact that someone took the time to do that. So if something doesn't work in a game, absolutely, I have no issue saying this doesn't work. I'm not crazy about this, but I'll give a reason why, because just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it doesn't work for somebody else. I have no issues being honest about my feelings with the game. Playing a game that I don't think I'm going to particularly like, or playing games that I like or don't like, I don't seek out games I don't think I'm going to like. I don't like playing games. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not my game, but I'm going to play it anyway, only to know that it's probably not going to get a good review for me because it's just not a game that I particularly like. But it might be mechanically an okay game, fine, but subjectively it's not for me. I've played many a game that I haven't enjoyed. I don't enjoy doing that. So if I can avoid it, I will. But I'm very honest, and I think Suzanne's the same way.
Yeah, I just lie all the time. I think that's very much in line with you. And I loved your point, Mandy, about not playing games that you just don't like. And I've played a lot of games. I've been gaming for over 20 years. I have a pretty good sense. I can look at a game's description or scan the rule book and have a pretty good sense of whether or not I think it's going to be a good fit for me. And so that's where I'm certainly going to focus my energies and attention when I get it to the table. But I will, as I have grown as a gamer over the years too, what I have settled more and more into is a better understanding that, and it goes back to a lot of what you were saying, Mandy, just because I don't enjoy it doesn't mean it's a bad game,
right?
Or it's a poorly done game. And I think that, Mandy, you and I are both very conscious of that feeling and understanding and perspective. And so that ends up coming through in our criticism of games, where, like you said, you're very focused on how it impacted you and you contextualize it. And I think I try to do something similar where this doesn't work for me and here's why. But if you don't mind that, it's fine. For example, I don't like zombies. I will avoid almost every zombie game if I can. And if I have to play a zombie game and I end up not liking the theme, I'm going to say I didn't like the zombie theme because it's not for me. That doesn't mean it's a bad game. It doesn't mean that zombies are bad. Well, zombies are terrible, of course. But in real life,
I like zombies.
All those real life zombies, they're awful. We don't like them. But in a game, that's the context. But I think we're maybe less, I don't know. We're more moderate. I mean, we're just more moderated in our commentary than certain other content creators where their passions come out in a different expressive way than ours.
But we also work full-time jobs. So if you have people who are doing this, reviewing games on a full-time basis, you have access to the opportunity to play more games. And in doing so, you may run across more games that, maybe you don't care for. For us, we have to be a little bit more selective because our time is far less. So we have maybe one game night a week that we play games. And I don't really want to play games that I'm like, if I can help it. So well, we have a new segment on the podcast though.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to the podcast, or even if you just want to listen to it for this segment, it's called One and Done. And
people seem to really like it.
Yeah, they do. And it's
People
just
love
one of those games. I know. We played a game once and we're like, that's gonna not for us. So, well, there you go. We give a little something.
Scrolling up, the Mr. E asked if we can schedule demos at Essen, and you can. There's a full schedule. It's run by publisher, so you can check out what each publisher is doing and figure out what you want to do, and then sign up for demos. We'll say like the hottest game sessions, they go quickly. From a sign up from a reserve spot point of view. I know Justin, I don't know if he's still on the chat, but Justin from Restoration Games was saying that all the Fireball Island demo sessions, they were gone. They were filled up.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Very, very quickly. So you can sign up. I think some popular ones get filled up pretty quickly, but you can still walk around the hall. And I mean, all the booths and they're all set up with a gameplay space that you can settle down in and demo a game. Right. Whether or not there's, you might have to stand and hover and breathe over people's shoulders.
Sometimes that doesn't work. I've tried it.
No, and I found that at Essen, they got their spot. They're good. You can be all socially awkward on them, and they don't care. They're gonna play their game.
It's so true. Oh goodness.
Christian points out the zombies are license free, and that's why there's so many of them.
Is that why?
Mm-hmm.
I look at that. I'm learning something new.
Well, people love zombies.
Well, I do. I mean, hey. Oh, I'll let you do the questions. My brain's all over the place.
Martin is saying, is Chronicles of Crime out? It is fulfilling to Kickstarter backers now. And I believe that they will have copies at the Spiel in Essen as well. And so it should be coming out very, very soon because they're fulfilling to backers now.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I have my copy. I haven't played it yet. I was trying to run through Detective and then try that one.
I haven't played Detective yet.
So good. And can I tell you, we are killing it. Like killing it. I talked to Ignace the other day and I'm like, by the way, we played Case 2. And he's like, must be like, what's wrong with you? You're so obsessed.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, how awesome is it when you play a game that you want to re-engage with right away? I think that's very, very cool.
I don't want to give away the topic, but I also start to wonder about myself because I watch a lot about this topic on like the History Channel or Biography Channel. And it wasn't like a great time in history, but I'm just so fascinated by it. So you'll see when you play the game.
Very, very, there we go. I am very much looking forward to it. Well, I also, Mandy, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I got a copy of Ganymede. I went to an Asmodee event and, nope, this is Lucky Duck Games. I was talking to Lucky Duck Games. Because I was on Chronicles of Crime, and I just realized I surrounded myself with Lucky Duck Games, which was completely accidental. I was like, oh, these games are on my table. I'll go grab them. And Ganymede is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, you have to see this art. The colors are lush. It has this polygon art style, which is kind of lots of angles and surfaces. And it's all about going from Earth to Mars, Mars to Ganymede, and then Ganymede into the great beyond. And it's beautiful. And it's a lighter game. It's probably a notch up from Splendor in complexity, but there are shuttles that you can plan for, and you have to have the right type of space explorers to load up shuttles and get them from place to place. So there's a nice amount of planning as the cards come out and things like that. I really enjoyed it. I think the art enhanced it for me. And if you're looking for kind of that light middleweight game, I think Ganymede is definitely something you could check out. I'd really like to play it with you, Mandy, and see if you like it. I think I can see where you would like it because it's got just enough planning in assessing what your options are and how you have to deal with that.
Right.
That you'll enjoy it. It'll be light for you, but I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. For those who are not aware, space themes, planning. As soon as I hear those two things, I kind of go, so if you think I'm going to like
Mandy, you're dealing with people who voluntarily are watching a QA involving you. They all know you love space games. You're not fooling anyone.
Well, maybe someone's new and just saw these onesies and went, hey, those ladies look awesome. And they had no idea.
That's true. They're just cruising around and found two people wearing animal onesies and thought,
Yeah.
that's probably something we should watch for a second. That's possible. That's possible. Let's see here. I think I saw a question about Wildlands.
Yes, that's on your. So my friend has learned it for us to play. I haven't played it yet. Have you?
I have. It's very straightforward to play.
You've played it? I can't believe you.
I have. And it's Martin Wallace, and I'm very hot and cold on Martin Wallace. For example, London is one of my favorite games. London Second Edition from Osprey Games. I love it even more. Although I kept the old version too, because I don't know. I have a collection problem. You see, Jeff in the chat is saying, Mandy loves space. Jeff knows.
Yeah, no.
Wildlands is a card-driven race game of a sort, or battle game, skirmish game, you could argue. I don't know about that skirmish thing, but basically cards you get your own personal little troop. They're all different. I was going to say asynchronous, but then I realized I was going to get called out on that again because I get all wrapped up into my terminology.
Right.
They're all asymmetric. And then you have a custom deck of cards for them. And different icons will mean, oh, this card lets me impact these 2 units, or this card lets me impact these 3 units, and this one has a wild. So you're just moving these things around, and you're either getting points for collecting these crystals that are on the board, or you get points for knocking out an opponent's unit. And it's all this card-driven thing. Very, very, very straightforward. The minis are delightful. The card play is simple. I have some challenges with the board. I think they leaned slightly too heavily on letting the art shine. The art is beautiful. Differentiating between the spaces takes just half a second longer than I'd like to.
Right.
Honestly, it's a nitpick, but it's definitely a game I'd like to explore more. It's interesting because you can win the game just chasing down the crystals. You don't even have to combat at all if you don't want to. Okay. But depending on your board position, sometimes elbowing people is faster way to win. So I'm really enjoying it. It's an amazing production from Osprey Games. I am bummed because they created a really nice insert system, and then there's a small expansion, and it won't fit without mucking around. So I got to figure that out. But so that's my thought on my early thoughts on Wildlands.
Okay. Yeah, I know my friend. So I'm very lucky that I have a game group of friends. They know I'm really busy. So they'll say, okay, Mandy, what games do you need to learn? And they'll just pick them off the shelf and learn them. So then we can play them the next time they come. So Wildlands, my friend Ashley grabbed that one, and she said she doesn't know if I will like it. She says, we'll play it. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to like it, but she said, yeah. She says, like, I'm unsure if you're going to like it. I just hope it's not like, is it Space Freaks?
Yeah. It's completely different.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Yeah. It's not terrible. It just wasn't for me. So, okay.
Yeah. There's a question for you in here, but first I just have to give Ryan a shout out because he's asking, Mandy, what are your favorite 5 space games?
Oh, you're killing me, Ryan.
Totally trolling you in a beautiful way. Love it.
I gotta think about this though. Okay, so I like Clank in Space. That's so literal. I actually really enjoyed Kepler. Why do I always forget the numbers? 30, 40, something?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Kepler. Pulsar. OMG. I really like Pulsar. Please don't ask me the numbers. I don't know why I keep forgetting them. But that one is by CGE. I'm sorry, it was fantastic. I'm trying to think of another space game I liked. Come on, help me out, Suze. I'm cloudy and sick.
Oh, no, you get no help from me, space hater.
I'm trying to think of space games that I've liked. And then, Star Realms.
You do like Star Realms.
I love people see. Okay, 3042 is Kepler. 2849 is Pulsar. Yes, thank you, chat.
Can't just start throwing random numbers into the chat. She'll never know.
Okay, the space is already throwing me off. Okay, now I need to come up with one more space game. I'm trying to think of my collection of
Cosmic Encounters. No Cosmic Encounters.
Thank goodness Tom's on this chat.
Oh, I will tell Tom to his face.
Cosmic Encounters.
Have that conversation.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm missing one that's so obvious that I've talked about.
Yep.
Okay, I can't think of it right now, but if I remember, I will throw it out there. Ryan, you're killing me, but I think I did. I got 4. I managed to come up with 4.
On the spot, that was pretty good.
All right.
All right. So here's a question, and I think it's mostly going to be for you, Mandy. Cinegamer's asking, do either of us like horror games? Not zombie games necessarily, but horror games. I'm just going to tell you right now, Cinegamer, horror games are not my thing. Anything, I am a wuss. I get scared easily. I have an active imagination. My little Mandy's like chomping at.
It's
Um,
me.
so back in the day, there was a movie called Child's Play that released about
Yes.
this murderer that possessed a talking doll, and it terrified me. I saw the commercial for this movie, and I made my parents take every single doll I had, put it in a black trash bag, and put it in the garage.
Oh,
That's
Chucky.
from watching the commercial. So I am not your horror person. Mandy, on the other hand, that woman's got a dark side.
Okay, I'm not even gonna lie, I totally do. So I'm gonna be honest, I find it really hard to find horror themed games that are good. So we played Apocrypha and we did a live playthrough of that, and I really enjoyed it and I really liked the way it was going. The only issue with that game is it's not a game that I have time to kind of keep going with. I need one that's like you play it, it's done, and then you can play it again. It's a different game. Do you know what I mean? I can't have something that I continue. I just don't have time for it. So at Essen, I know they had one or two potentially, and I looked and I went, but I can't actually think of any games that are horror themed that I'm like, I'm just dying to have. Seriously, if somebody makes a horror theme that's awesome, I'm all over it. But I can't think of one to date that I'm just dying to have.
There you go.
Yeah, but Mansions. Well, yeah, Mansions of Madness. For me, that's still not horror enough. Like I'm talking about, even if it's like, see how like that Chucky story you just told, it's super like that's like cheesy, kind of scary. But guess what? It still scares the pants off me. But yeah, I'm waiting.
As it should, because it's terrifying.
Yeah.
James is asking, have either of us tried War Chest?
Well, that is one that is sitting on my shelf and shrink. I plan to play it when I get back. But Suzanne, this is for you.
I have played War Chest. I have played War Chest a number of times, and I love it. I absolutely love War Chest. It's a wonderful game. You can play it 2 or 4. I like it at both. I really end up liking the teamwork element because at 4 you play in 2 teams of 2 against each other, and the board expands a little bit, and it works really well. And it adds another element to the gameplay and how you use each other's units to cooperate. Totally a fan of War Chest. Obviously, the production is beautiful. It has these poker chip style pieces in it. I really like it. I actually need to contact AEG to see if I can get some replacement pieces.
Oh.
Because I was driving home from a game day and took a corner and my game bag went flying and War Chest went flying. And it has a beautiful like little insert where you can nest all the little, and just dozens of poker chips went flying through my car everywhere, and I haven't found 2 of them. Like they're just somewhere in my car, presumably.
Stick your hand under the
sad.
sheet.
I gotta get them because I can't play with those units until I get the game. So until I get those units back. But I'm a big fan of War Chest. I think it's very straightforward and simple to play. It lacks the complexity of the Duke, but I like that. I think it's cleaner and it feels streamlined. So when you think about that per unit kind of gameplay, the 2 that kind of lift up for me are Onitama and War Chest right now.
Really? Interesting. Somebody had asked, and I just throwing it in there because you're talking about War Chest. Are the chips like Splendor?
They are.
Okay.
They are weighty. They have, they're not printed. They definitely have some kind of sticker, but it's kind of metallic finish. It's very pretty. They use iconography and bold colors and things like that. So they're definitely a high quality poker chip for the player units.
Okay, very cool. Oh, and before I forget, coming back to the horror theme, Cinegamer, I have not played last Friday. So that is one I will check out. So I have to see if one of my friends own it. But thank you for that. So I'm going to give that a whirl and see if it's sufficiently creepy. Halloween's coming up, so okay.
I look forward to your report on that.
I know, right? We'll see if I can get it played. Nyctophobia, someone mentioned. I haven't played it, so I know you have. Have you?
I have, so I haven't gotten a copy yet, and I'm
Yeah.
kicking myself because I'm so excited about this game. I did play it in at a convention though, and uh that thematically, that one doesn't bother me. It's very abstract in a way. I'll
Okay.
tell you though, as a sighted person, losing that sense with blackout glasses, it's upsetting. It definitely ratchets up the tension. And I think that's brilliant for the context of the game. I think it's absolutely genius, but it is a little scary. I will say that.
Yay.
And Kabuki Kid, who the stalwart Kabuki Kid, such a wonderful,
Yeah.
in, I don't know, viewer, moderator,
All of the
friend,
above.
all the above, said that you played a bunch of roll and write games, and I'm very proud of you, and I'm very happy for you. Congratulations. I hope you had fun. Now, somebody said Fred is saying that they like Betrayal. Betrayal has enough camp to it that I don't know. There's something about Betrayal that one doesn't scare me. And I've played a number of games of Betrayal, and I'm really interested in Betrayal Legacy. I say that knowing the reality is I don't get legacy games to the table.
That's
So
the
it's going to be
problem, yeah.
tough, but I think it's the narrative element to Betrayal, I think would make a very compelling legacy experience.
Yeah, because Betrayal did not do it for me. And I gave it a shot. I get
Yeah.
it. It just didn't work for me. I don't know. I was always the one who got like the haunt happened on my turn every single time. And I don't know. I just played with a group of people who are lovely, but they were just way more excited about the game than I was. So I felt bad. So for me, it just didn't do anything for me. But I think the legacy one sounds like it'd be really fun.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, the chat is moving so fast.
I know. It's so great.
Phineas remembers. Yes, at least my game fell off. It fell in the car and not on the roof of the car.
Okay, listen. It was an innocent accident and actually a very costly accident. Yeah.
Okay, Dan, you're asking if I've played the Hoplomachus games. I have not. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's how much I have not played those. But now I'm curious, so I'm going to go check them out. So thank you for mentioning those. I've never played one.
Oh,
So
wow, so many good things
the
in here.
name alone has me intrigued. Josh is saying that their Halloween game is Indian Summer. There you go. And Jeff Rainwater is asking if either of us are going to OrcaCon or will we be on the cruise?
Well, I know we've both been invited to OrcaCon. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go.
Because
wait,
you're on the cruise.
That's the cruise. Yes, I will be on the cruise.
Exactly. Being in the Seattle area, OrcaCon is essentially a local convention for me. I know who operates it, and it's delightful. It's absolutely wonderful. It's very gameplay focused for both RPG and board games. Their library is okay. It's definitely one where if you can bring games, it's a good idea to bring games. But
Right.
the community there is awesome. They bring food trucks in, which, hey, I care. I care about what I'm going to be eating during
Good.
gaming. So they bring food trucks in. It's just full of really great people relaxing and playing fun games together. And I think OrcaCon is wonderful. If you're looking for a convention in the Seattle area to go to, I definitely, without reservation, recommend OrcaCon. But since we'll be on the cruise, I'll have to hear about it separately from all my friends.
From everyone else. Yeah, exactly. So before you jump into another question, couple things. So we talked about Orbis on the podcast, and I know other people have mentioned it in the chat. I really like Orbis. I am planning on getting Orbis. I know you've played it again. What did you think of it?
Me?
Yes.
Orbis?
Yes.
I like it.
Oh, okay.
I missed the Orbis question. Now
it came later. It came later. I've only played it once. I don't own it. But Asmodee Canada was kind enough to come to my place to show me some of the games. But I really enjoyed it. It was very simple when you looked at it with the tile laying and, trying to get a variety of the different types. And I was like, oh, but there's some strategy. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think the thing with Orbis, it's a pretty straightforward resource exchange game. I'd put it again in that same family as Splendor or Century.
Right.
the twist that sets it, I don't know what I was going to say there. The twist that sets Orbis apart. Orbis is not space themed, Jeff. It is
I don't
God, mystical, God
mythology, the
oriented,
mythology
yeah,
based.
kind of
Yeah,
mythical,
yeah.
whatever. Is actually the spatial element and the requirement on what you can build up. You have to, your bottom row of 5 can be anything you want, and then to build up the hex that you put. I'm gonna
It's
I need
you
a
kind of
third
have
hand.
to do. Yeah.
Anyway, the hex that you put on top has to match the color of at least one of the hexes below it. So what you find you're doing is you have to plan your first row for flexibility or for your strategy of what direction you want to go, which may also change depending on what gods are available. Then you're looking at the tiles that are available and figuring out what the likelihood is that you're going to get to them and things like that. So that color matching or type matching spatial element as you're going up has a pretty big influence on how the game plays out. And I think that is its big twist. And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But that's just the thing that sets it apart, I think, from some of the other kind of resource exchange games. So
yeah, it's one that I'm looking forward to. So that's one definitely that I'm going to be getting. And I wanted to talk about this pile of games quickly. So I got this in the mail, so I'm hoping to try that soon. I mean, it's so cute with all the characters. So one I want to try out. I don't know if anybody knows anything about that one. That's Gemstone Mining Game.
And Marcus is like chip theory games. Good to know. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. Sorry.
No,
I'm totally focused on you, Mandy.
I see that. I finally played this. Everyone had played it but me. So I really liked the crypto. It's really fun. So for those of you who haven't seen it, you should check it out. Team-based, so everyone's like team against team, and you're trying to guess each other's, I guess, code number. But there's a bit more to it. I know we're running out of time, so I don't go too deep into it. And for those of you who play Fog of Love, there are expansions. There are 3 to be exact.
Trouble with the in-laws.
Trouble with the in-laws. Paranormal romance. And hold on, can we see that one?
It will never last. Oh, crushing.
Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly show those. And then, of course, Spell Smashers, which I showed at Shucks. This is by a Canadian designer, Chris Chung. So really fun times. It kind of reminds me of Paperback, but you're fighting monsters and you have like a market that you can get to go to get some really crazy cards. So it is definitely different, but if you have played Paperback, some of it will seem familiar with a few twists. So there you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
I played Spell Smashers in prototype form. I've never played the finished game, so I'm really excited to see. From just seeing some of the pictures online, it looks like it's so fun to see what it looks like in prototype form, where it's just sometimes the paper, the cards are handwritten on, stuffed into sleeves to a finished product. I think that's a really cool thing to see in the evolution of how a game is created. So I'm excited to see the final.
Yeah. I think you'll like it. Definitely recommend it with lower player counts. Otherwise, I find the turns can get very long. So 3 to 4 players, I think, is a sweet spot.
Yep. Kabuki Kid's asking if anyone jumped on the GMT sale. I assume Kabuki Kid's talking to the chat at large, but I didn't because of Essen.
Right.
And I wanted to. So I want to know what people got at the GMT sale too, because
I feel that wouldn't be good for Canadians. So any Canadians in the chat, that was probably like regular price for us. But
maybe. Oh, Christian Gilbert saying that they got to play Dragon Boats. Now, Mandy, have you played Dragon Boats now?
Yeah, so actually Christian is in Ottawa. Well, Quebec. He's in Gatineau. I did. So I did a preview on so for those of you who don't know, I have another channel that I started on when I came on YouTube, and I still work off of that because I have another group of people that I work with. And I did a preview for Dragon Boats, actually. So I liked it. It was a good game. My friends really, really enjoyed it. But we had a good time with it. I definitely think it's on the lighter side. And but I think that once you get the hang of it, you can definitely make things happen with placing yourself on the outside islands, definitely trying to control where people's boats go so you can prevent them from collecting sets of these tiles that you're trying to get. And there's some Easter eggs in there.
Yes, there are.
So something that might involve us. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's really fun. Maple Games. I haven't played Dragon Boats. but the team behind Makeable Games, the founders, are just delightful people. And one of them is Peter
Walken? I had to look it up. I looked it up and I thought it was.
Wait, no, Woken. I pronounce it wrong every time, and now I'm really confused. And it's like I think I was pronouncing it Peter Walken,
I think it's,
but it's Peter Woken.
all I know is I looked it up on Google or something to get the pronunciation, and I pronounced it that way.
I'm such a and literally I was at a convention staring Peter face to face, mispronouncing his name. And he's from the Midwest and like super nice. So I don't think he felt comfortable correcting me, but I felt awful. Anyway, Peter and Daryl are great. And Peter is a very talented artist and graphic designer and will live stream while he's working on a board game, which is so cool. If you haven't watched artists live stream before, it's really cool just to have in the background or whatever. Yeah. And Peter was doing this thing that if you joined him, he was working people's names into the game board in artistic ways. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, the brothers Murph are in the chat. So
and the one tar.
Well, and oh my goodness, but they said they wanted Kigurumi. So send me a message. I'm going to hook you up. So we had promo codes. Remember when we were showing these off? I think it was 10% off or something like that. So going to talk to my friend because she owns the company, and I'll see if she can maybe make another promo code for us so people can get in on the action.
Well, I need a promo code because 4 is not enough.
I know.
I need more onesies.
I know. There's one that I've been really eyeing. It's so cute. Looks like a big cupcake, but we'll see.
I need the Totoro onesie. That's what I'm really going for next. Is the IP based ones.
Yeah, that's like me. I only have one IP based. No, I have 2 actually. But I'm gonna go get another one. Actually, it's another IP based one. So you know what? Never mind.
So for those of you who missed our earlier part of the Q&A, you may have missed it, but we have officially announced the rivalry between the brothers Murph and Mandi and Suzanne.
And they show up in our
new status as nemesis. And just to prove how deep this rivalry goes, they show up in our chat just to show us up. I see how it is, brothers Murph.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Watching you.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting close to the hour point, and I mean, we could talk about games and about and making fun of the brothers Murph forever.
Wait. I have to say this before we leave.
I wanted to give you a timestamp so you could get anything else.
Yeah, I got a new phone.
Oh my god, I just totally.
Okay, this is a big deal because I went from iPhone user to Android user.
Whoa!
Right? I had to like drop that bomb before we sign off, but I'm loving it. So good.
Really? What'd you get?
So I got I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Huawei, Huawei, P20 Pro. So it was Nicole Hoy. She's the one she has one. And then I was like, oh, this looks great. The camera is fantastic. The battery life is amazing so far. And she said she's had nothing but good things about it. It's literally very similar to using an iPhone, oddly enough, but it's an Android. So I have to tell you, I'm feeling it. Because Suzanne, maybe you should tell everybody what phone that you got. Just before we sign off, leave them with everyone with a little something.
Okay. Earlier in the chat, we were talking about how Mandi and I don't like to be negative or we're moderate in our criticism. I got this piece of junk that cost me an arm and a leg. I could have bought more games with the money I spent on this thing. But instead, I bought a new phone because I wanted a new camera. I wanted a better camera. So I bought the new iPhone XS that came out. I hate it with an undying passion. I hate so many things about this phone. I do like the camera. That was a really critical feature for me in upgrading. I wanted a better camera, just both for family photos on the go and for game photos on the go. That feature is good. Everything else about the phone, I detest. So without me going on a 20-minute rant here, I will just leave it at that. I am envious of your phone. I'm terrified of switching to Android because I have so much money invested in the iOS ecosystem from an app spend point of view, but I'm envious. And Mandi, I'm happy for you though, Mandi. I'm happy that you like it.
I felt so bad. I was so excited when you got your Apple. I was like, ooh, maybe I'll get it. And then went to the store and then I saw Nicole's post about her phone. I'm like, oh, your phone looks so cool. And mine has like this. Okay, yes, I'm a sucker for really cool things. It's hard to see, but it's like a purple to a nice, like turquoisey green. And I was like, oh, it's calling my name. And I had to get it. It's so good. The camera makes my face look all soft and beautiful. And when I take pictures of games, it's so crisp. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just went off at a tangent there.
Well, congratulations. So then, Mandi, we're expecting very nice photos out of you at the Spiel of all of your adventures and all the pretzels and waffles that we are going to eat, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. All the pretzels. Like, how many of those things did we have tossed around? Oh, this one's stale. Need new ones.
And the Stroop waffles. And the bread. Do you remember the bread that was like rotisserie cooked?
Oh, yeah, that was good.
That was around that you get, and then you pull, and then you put, like, it was like the spiral that you would just go down, the never-ending spiral of rotisserie bread.
Oh,
that was amazing.
So
Germans do their carbs right. I'm telling you. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, all this food talk. Okay, now we're digressing. It's getting late. I got to pack still, or maybe get some sleep because I'm all stuffy now.
Indeed. Thank you, everybody. It's always a pleasure. We know it's been a little while. We are going to try to be more consistent about this. I will tell you, Mandi and I have some stuff working in the background for some new stuff that may be coming out in the new year that we're super excited about. And we hope that you'll be happy to see as well when that launches. So keep your ears out for news on that front. And thank you for joining us here. Y'all are the best chat ever.
Seriously, best chat.
So great that this community exists and that you're out there supporting each other and us as well. And we really appreciate it. If you have questions that we didn't get to answer here because y'all are so chatty, feel free to email us.
Oh, that's it. I saw Tiffany right in there. Spiral potato.
Oh, the spiral potato too. Yeah.
Sorry.
You can email me, Suzanne at dicetower.com.
Or you can send me an email. Oh my goodness. You can send me an email. That's Mandi with an I, at dicetower.com.
And until next time, check out that onesie action. Get one for yourself. They're super comfy going into the winter. And have fun gaming, everybody.
Bye.